I want you to imagine this for a moment. You wake up on a beautiful morning. The sun is gently slipping through the curtains. Your mind feels clear, your steps steady, your breathing calm. You might even think to yourself, this is going to be a good day. But then, just one day later, without warning, you wake up feeling completely different. Your body isn't cooperating. Your hands tremble slightly, holding a glass of water. Your legs feel unsteady. Or maybe it's just a quiet fatigue you can't quite name. No clear reason, no warning signs, just different. Have you ever felt that way? I have, not just as a doctor, but as a 60-year-old man living this journey myself. And many of my patients in their 80s have asked me the same thing. Doc, why did I feel fine yesterday, but today I can barely get out of bed? And honestly, there's no easy answer, but it's real. As we age, our bodies stop following the steady rhythms we once took for granted. Our nervous system's circulation hormones, they all start slowing down, reacting less predictably. And the most challenging part, that instability doesn't just affect your body, it shakes your inner confidence. That feeling that you're still in control of your own self. Once you start doubting that, it's hard not to lose a little piece of your trust in your own body. I remember one patient, Harold, 83. He used to be so active, loved gardening, drove himself everywhere, hated asking for help. But some mornings he'd wake up and say, Doc, I feel like an old car. Some days the engine starts, some days it doesn't. And you know what, I understood exactly what he meant. But here's what I want you to hold on to. Feeling uncertain doesn't mean you're weak. It means you need a new rhythm, one that honors where you are now. Adaptation is not defeat. It's a new kind of strength. Being wise isn't about being unbreakable. It's knowing how to shift with the seasons of your life. So instead of getting frustrated with your body, try listening to it. What drains you? What helps you feel restored? Maybe you need to nap a little earlier, drink more water throughout the day, do some gentle stretching in the morning. These aren't signs of decline. They're your body's way of saying, I'm still here. But I speak a new language now. And finally, please remember this. You're doing better than you think. Your body may not be what it once was, but you are still growing, still learning. And sometimes the bravest thing you can do is to give yourself permission to rest. Now let's talk about your daily life. Can you remember your usual morning routine? Maybe putting on your shoes to head out to the market, stopping by the old bakery, chatting with the vegetable seller, then coming home to brew tea, turn on the radio, and sit by the window as sunlight poured in. It wasn't a special day, but it felt whole. It felt like life. Then one day you notice, those little moments start to fade, not because you don't want them, but because your body no longer makes them easy. The stairs feel steeper, the walk to the store longer, and the friends who used to pop by, they're now busy or unwell, or have simply moved on. I had a patient, Ruth, 82, living alone in suburban Colorado. She used to go to the library every week, attend yoga for seniors, cook for her small group of friends. But over the past few years, she told me, Doc, I don't really go anywhere anymore. It's like the world's getting smaller. I asked, do you feel lonely? She shook her head. Not exactly, but I miss feeling like I belong to something bigger than just me. And I think many of us can relate to that. Sometimes the world shrinks, not with noise, but with silence. You're still in the same house on the same street, but it just doesn't feel the same. No more voices calling from the gate. No familiar barking from next door's dog. Just stillness. But here's the beautiful truth. Life doesn't lose meaning when it gets smaller. In fact, it often becomes deeper when everything slows down. A cup of tea made with intention, a call to an old friend, a warm conversation with your grandchild over video chat. That's not less. That's enough, if you know how to appreciate it. After over 30 years as a doctor for people over 50, I've learned this. Growing older isn't about stepping away from life. It's about entering a new space, where you don't need to keep up with speed, but can finally move at the pace of your own truth. So even if the world around you feels smaller, your heart, your memories, your connections, they can still be as vast as ever, if you let them be. And if today all you have is a phone call, a cup of tea, or a patch of sunlight through the window, know this, you're still living a life that matters. Don't forget that. I had a patient once. Her name was Lorraine, 86 years old. And she told me, "Doctor, I'm not lonely. I just feel like the world around me is getting smaller." I asked her, "What keeps you feeling okay day after day?" She smiled gently and said, "A phone call from my daughter every night. Just 5 minutes. But it's always there. And I wait for it, like waiting for a light to come on in a dark room." I'm not telling you this to make you sad. I'm sharing it to remind you that the power of connection doesn't come from how many people you have around you, but how real the connection is. After 80, we don't need a big crowd. We just need a few people who see us, who hear us, and who love us, just for who we are. As someone who's worked with people over 50 for decades, I've seen it again and again. It's not isolation that harms us physically. It's the emotional distance that wears us down quietly. But connection, even if it's just a text, a glance, a kind word, it nourishes the soul in ways no medicine can. So if today you feel like your world is shrinking, I encourage you, hold on to the real threads. Call an old friend, write a handwritten note, text your grandchild, "Hey honey, how was your day?" You'll be surprised how much that tiny act fills your heart right back up. And sometimes, just one person, one real steady presence, is enough to make this world feel meaningful again. Now I want you to think back to when you were in your 40s or 50s. A cold was just an inconvenience. A sleepless night. You still got up the next morning, made your coffee, and carried on with your day. Your body was like a well-built machine. You didn't have to think about it. It just worked. But after 70, things shift. You forget to drink water at lunch, or you only sleep 3 hours one night, and suddenly you're wiped out for the whole next day. A small bruise that used to fade in 2 days now lingers for a week, and you start asking yourself, why do I feel like I'm getting weaker so quickly? One of my patients, Charles, is 79, used to be a PE teacher, told me, "Doc, I never used to be afraid of catching a cold. But last year, one sniffle put me in bed for 2 weeks. That scared me more than any fall I've ever had." And I nodded, because he's not alone. You see, it's not that you're getting weak in some failure kind of way. What's really happening is this: your body is finally being honest with you. After decades of serving you without question, now it's asking for something in return. Your attention. Like an old loyal friend who needs a bit more kindness, a little more care. Medically, it makes sense. After 70, your immune system gets more sensitive. Your autonomic nervous system, the one that controls things like sleep and digestion, doesn't regulate as easily. So missing sleep, skipping meals, getting dehydrated, they're no longer small missteps. They throw your whole system off balance. But here's what I want you to remember. Needing more care doesn't mean you're failing. It means you're evolving. As a doctor, I always tell my patients, taking care of yourself after 70 isn't about bouncing back like before. It's about living smarter. Eat enough protein, get good sleep, drink water, even if you don't feel thirsty yet. And if you wake up one day and feel off, that's okay. Give yourself permission to rest. You don't have to prove anything. Just know that you're listening, really listening, to what your body needs. Because sometimes the strongest thing you can do is to be gentle with yourself. Now close your eyes for just a second. Think back to a specific year in your life, maybe 1983 or 2001, or even just last year. Do you ever feel like it all passed in a blink? You were ringing in the new year, and then suddenly leaves were falling on the porch again? I've heard this from so many of my patients over 70. Doctor time feels like it's slipping through my fingers now. A year feels like a season, and I nod, because I feel that too. Isn't it strange when we're young, a year feels endless? We count down to birthdays, summer breaks, holidays. But at a certain age, time doesn't count down anymore. It just flows. And you start asking yourself, what did I really do with it? One of my patients, Elaine, 81, once told me she doesn't remember exact days anymore, but she remembers how certain moments felt, reading by the window during a rainy afternoon, hearing her grandchild laugh in the kitchen, or sitting quietly with a warm cup of tea and an old song playing in the background. And I believe that's the real gift of aging. You stop measuring time by clocks. You start feeling it with your heart. A quiet afternoon becomes more precious than a long vacation. A short call from someone you love can warm you for hours. I could talk to you about your biological age, heart age, bone age. But your time age, the way you feel time moving through your life, only you can know that. So here's what I want to say. Don't let each day be just another day. Let it be a gentle punctuation in your life's melody. Short but meaningful. And if today you're sitting here watching this video, maybe in a quiet afternoon with a cup of tea or coffee beside you, know that you are doing the most important thing of all. You're present, you're aware, and you're grateful. Sometimes slowing down is the only way to go deeper into life and into yourself. I've had so many patients share these small moments with me over the years. One of them was Mr. Henry, 84 years old, a retired aerospace engineer, a strong, meticulous man, the kind who used to fix his own roof even well into his late 70s. One day he told me, "Doc, it took me almost 20 minutes just to open a jar of pickles. I gave up in the end and waited for my granddaughter to visit. Just a few years ago, I was climbing ladders and repairing shingles. I looked at him and said, 'You're not getting weaker, Henry. You're just learning a new skill, the skill of knowing when to ask for help.' You see, we all grow up in a culture that glorifies independence. Doing everything on your own is seen as a sign of strength. But after 70, I honestly believe that strength takes on a new form. It's no longer about whether you can do it all. It's about knowing what's worth doing yourself and what's okay to let someone else handle." As a doctor who works closely with people over 50, here's what I want you to hear from me. Needing help doesn't mean you've lost your value. It just means you're in a new chapter, one where you adjust the way you live so it's safer, gentler, and sometimes even more meaningful. A recent study from Harvard actually showed something powerful. Older adults who are open to receiving help, especially from loved ones, report higher happiness and even longer lifespans. Not because they're more needy, but because they allow love and connection to truly show up in their lives. So if today you need your grandchild to drive you to the grocery store, or you ask a neighbor to help you open a stubborn pill bottle, smile and receive it. Because independence isn't about never needing anyone. It's about keeping your dignity and grace when someone shows up beside you. And sometimes, the kindness you allow yourself to receive is actually a gift you're giving to someone else. You're giving them the chance to care, to connect, to show love. Not because you're fragile, but because you are still and always deeply worthy of being loved.